setting a background so that we can proceed further. The first and foremost important thing is that content creation. We all are creating content in a different way. In a way, we all have become informal authors now. In the sense, a layman can also comment on Facebook, a professor can comment on Facebook, students can write something on LinkedIn, a professor can share his article on ResearchGate. So everybody is involved in one or other activity. So it could be sharing our thoughts or perspectives or opinions or observations on different platforms. If you just observe as how much data we are generating, that's very, very important. If we take an example of number of PhDs we are producing worldwide, India is producing more than 40,000 PhDs per year. As per UGC's annual report, in 2018-19, we produced 40,800 plus PhDs and around 25,000 MPhil projects. Now MPhil is stopped, so we are producing nearly 42,000 to 45,000 PhDs every year. If you ask me how many PhDs China is producing and America is producing more than 70,000 PhDs per year. China is producing more than 110,000 PhDs. So this number has increased like anything. Even in the case of articles that you see in the journals, that you see in the libraries, the journals or the articles that you see in the libraries, those also have gone up like anything. Now, because of internet, because of online platform, many of the open access publishers have started their journals. So in a way, there are different platforms, so many thousands of publishers who are inviting papers and publishing papers on their platforms. So the big question is how to get the reliable information from online resources, how to write a good paper for a proper journal or legitimate journal or legitimate publisher, an authentic publisher, a reliable publisher. So this has become a big challenging issue. And many of the time, even the experienced teachers or the researchers or even the scientists, I'll share some examples in case if we get time. Even scientists have also committed mistakes and they have published their articles in the possibly predatory journals or fake journals. So that has happened. So friends, on screen you are seeing Buckminster Fuller. So in 1982 he wrote a book, Critical Path. It's a very wonderful book. In that book he talks about how knowledge is growing, how the domain of knowledge is growing like anything. So in the 19th century to double the information it required 100 years. During 1940s it required 25 years, and now there are different schools of thought under knowledge doubling curve. So this is what Fuller devised this particular concept, popularized this concept, knowledge doubling curve. So there are different schools of thoughts under knowledge doubling curve that say that the knowledge is doubling every 13 months, knowledge is doubling every 12 months, knowledge is doubling every 1 month. So there are different predictions, different statistics by different platforms. So what we understand from this is that the knowledge is doubling like anything because we are producing a lot of data or information, and the number of platforms have also increased. So in this presentation, what I am doing is considering the number of participants who have joined this presentation and also the type of participants who have joined this presentation, especially the teachers. Majority of them are teachers. However, even researchers have also joined this particular lecture. So what I am doing is I am focusing both the category of the participants, but my focus is more on the researchers because they need to be oriented about the journals. Okay, so as I said initially, I am focusing mainly on open access journals, not those journals that you see in the library. The journals that you see which are subscription based. So we'll be understanding all these dimensions later, but I'll be focusing more on the online open access journal. Friends, this concept itself, the second point is on open access publishing. To speak on open access publishing, it requires a lot of time because there are a lot of issues, dimensions, types, forms, formats are involved in it. Now, open access has become a very, very big field altogether. To discuss on different aspects of open access, it requires a lot of time. So what I am doing in this presentation is I have divided this presentation in different parts. Within this presentation, I'll be sharing basics of open access publishing. That's very, very important. Once the concept is clear, once you understand the basics, you can build any theory on that, any advanced knowledge on that. So your concept has to be clear. Third important point is that I'll be sharing a lot of concepts in this presentation. Fourth is I'll be sharing some platforms also which are really related or useful for publishing in open access journals. So we'll be understanding that. So that's very, very important. And there are some platforms that I do not demonstrate in this presentation. So you need to assume that those platforms or those concepts which I do not discuss in detail, you need to assume that I have given you an assignment, okay? I have given an assignment to work on those platforms that I do not discuss or do not discuss in detail. The concept that I just introduced but do not discuss in detail. So this is an assignment for those who have joined this particular presentation. So the ultimate objective of this presentation is to get to know the publication trends, to get to know different allied concepts, what is happening in this particular publication arena, what is happening in the field of open access publishing and how it is different from the traditional publishing. That you are going to introspect later. Once you attend this presentation, once you get this copy of this presentation, you need to recap, you need to revisit it, and you need to introspect as how different the approach that I decided to go for. But now what should I do now? Means after attending this presentation, I got to know different platforms, different avenues, different chances or opportunities. So I need to plan out very, very systematically. This is what you will understand. If you get to know these things and if you get to know these insights, so I think this presentation will be successful. So today's presentation, we are discussing on different aspects like what is happening in the publication form, publication domain, and what are the concepts those are involved in this open access publishing, why it is called open access, what is closed access, why this open and access, these two terms are clubbed. So this is what we are going to understand today. Open access movement, why we are using this movement word. Is there any movement? Are there any people who are really advocating this? Are there any unions or the groups which are really advocating this particular movement? So the fourth aspect is a modern publishing pattern and traditional publishing pattern. We'll understand that. And this is very, very important to understand what is copyright and what is open license. We all know about copyright, okay? We all know about copyright because while reading our book, we see this copyright page, okay? You see that C in the circle, right? And also you are very much aware as while citing the books or while citing sources, you are very much aware of copyright. Means while taking photocopy of the books, you are very much aware of the copyrights, right? And what is this open license? Why it is called open license, how it is different from the copyright, that we'll realize and understand in this presentation. The important point is why to publish in open access journal, that we need to understand. Already Dr. Samin, while introducing me, she was discussing about that why this open access is very, very important, why we need to publish in open access journals. The next question is how to publish in open access journals or open access platforms, and that is the reason RG College of Management Studies has organized this presentation, especially on open access publications. I have hardly seen organizers who are wanting to organize some sessions on open access publishing, because I have seen many people invite us for writing papers, writing review of literature, writing publishing articles in journals, not specifically in open access journals. So I think this will be an interesting experience or interesting opportunity for you all to learn this particular concept. Now, where to get this OA journals? Okay, from where I can understand or get to know that, okay, these are the open access journals which I rely and which I trust, and we can publish papers there. What are the suitable tools or platforms wherein I can get to know more details about OA journals? I can read their terms and condition. I can read author guidelines. I can read specific instruction. I can see how much they charge. I can see how much delay is there. So what kind of editors are there? What is the editorial policy? All these things you will get to know. I will be showing some platforms also. So apart from all these aspects, I'll be sharing miscellaneous concepts, miscellaneous tools, miscellaneous platforms, and miscellaneous trends. So let us begin this presentation with this particular background. So what is open access? Open access literature is digital, that has to be digitized, okay, digital, and it is available online, that too free of cost and free of most copyright and licensing restrictions. So free of most copyright means what? Here the user or the reader or the writer has access to such resources which are indicating that I can remix it, I can take photocopy, I can print it, I can commercialize it, okay, I can distribute, I can link it on my website. So there are a lot of bundle of opportunities as far as open access is concerned. Now, how to identify whether it is open access resource or not? Suppose this PPT is there. How to identify whether it is open access or not? You have read one article, how to know that whether I am able to remix it. I can bring some value addition, or I can add some value to that particular article, or I can distribute it, I can sell it, okay, I can change the name and I can change the content here and there, and then I can republish it. So you will understand these things only when you will see the open license imprinted or printed or put on that particular file. So we'll be seeing the examples later. So what we understood from this particular definition is that our meaning is that open access is digital, it is available on internet, it is accessible free of cost, and there are no copyright restrictions, or there are limited copyright restriction or open license restrictions. And you may be wondering when this started exactly, means when this open access publishing or open access platforms started emerging. So it started 20 years back in 2002. Open Access Initiative, Budapest Open Access Initiative was launched, and in that the deliberation on open access and open access dimensions or prototype or open access roadmap was devised. And this Budapest Open Access Initiative that say that open access is free availability on the internet, resources that are freely available on the internet, permitting any user to read, download, copy, distribute, print, search, or link to the full text to these articles. And this is very important, without financial, legal, or technical barriers. If you see any open access article and if they are asking you money for accessing it, then that is not open access, because the principle of open access is that it should be available free of charge, okay, without any financial restriction. Okay? And legally means you can copy and download, because you are entitled to access that because of open license. So we'll be discussing what is open license later, right? So any other technical barrier means there is no need of putting login credentials to access that particular article, because it should be completely openly available. There could be some platform wherein login credentials are required, because you need to create an account there, then you can explore all the open access article from that particular platform, right? So what are the examples of open access journals? So where can I find open access journals? So this is the very popular, I know you all know that this particular database is very useful for the researchers or the teachers or whoever is looking for any journal or looking for any database or publisher to read some articles, or one who wants to publish any articles in open access journals. So this is a very right platform. So we'll be seeing this live later. So I'm just introducing as from where I can get the open access journals. This is DOAJ, Directory of Open Access Journals. You can see the journals in 680 languages of 126 countries, and there are more than 16,000 journals are available in this, and you can see these many articles. And friends, majority of them are at full text level. 90% of the articles are at full text level. You may be wondering why I said 90 and why I did not say 100%. Because there could be some links or links to the articles. When you go to that particular website, that website may not be working. That website may be asking you login credentials, or that website may be asking you some money. But principally, this particular website is having all or majority of the journals that are available in open access domain. Now, this is very, very important. Out of 16,000 plus journals, 11,000 journals, more than 11,000 journals are without APC. What is APC? We'll be discussing in detail later. APC stands for Article Processing Charges. That means 11,000 journals do not charge you anything to publish. It is not charging to give access to the readers. No, it's not like that. If you want to write an article to an open access journal, so you need to pay certain amount. So what DOAJ is saying, that what Directory of Open Access Journals is saying, we have 16,000 journals in our database, and out of 16,000 journals, we do not charge for those journals. Those are listed in it. So there are 11,000 journals which are not charging a single pay for publishing articles. So hope this concept is very much clear, that there are two kinds of journals. One is paid journal. Second is journal that is not at all asking you any processing charge or any cost is involved in that. So ultimately, I need to aim for these journals wherein APC is not charged, article processing charges are not charged. This is core another example, because I'm showing you where you should get the open access journals, right? There are different platforms. I'm just showing you some examples so that you understand as where I can start my journey to understand open access publishing, understand how these open access journals look like. Okay? So this is world's largest collection of open access research papers. So we can see the number of papers that are available in this particular website. This is UK's project, or you can access it. So why this open access understanding or awareness of open access is required? Because many of us do not know about open access journals. We do not know about this because we know the journals that are run by the localites. Those are run within a state, within a country, but those are not that popular. Those are just a local kind of journals wherein they approach and they say that our journal is available online, it is free of cost. We just charge you 2,000 rupees or 3,000 rupees to publish a paper. Within a week, your article is going to be published. Even if you are delayed to submit the paper, even after launching that particular issue, they still want to insert that particular paper in that, because it is very easy now when the journal is online, available online. So they do these kind of mischiefs also. So this is about those people who are running fake journals or predatory journals. I'm talking about that. But coming back to the awareness, why open access publishing, why we're discussing this, why RG College of Management Studies has conducted this particular or conducting this particular session, because the researchers and educators need to be aware of different options available for publishing our research papers, right? So there is one study by Alma Swan and Sheridan Brown. They say that they did a survey and they explored that many of the educators or the teachers, they are not familiar with the open access journals. So when they were asked, the teachers were asked why they have not chosen to publish in an open access journals, and many of the authors or the educators, they say that means 70% of them were not familiar enough with the open access journals in their field. That's very, very strange. Now, when you go for promotion, when you go for interview, especially I'm talking about the research scholars, when they go for Viva or when they go for job in any college or university, If the vice chancellor or the selection committee asks them that, can you name a few journals in your field? Certainly you are going to name those journals that you have read in the library, okay, that your guide has recommended you to read. You may name those kind of journals, but what about the open access journals? Those are available online. So you can't say that open access journals are not that qualitative, not reliable. Okay, so you can't say that. So in total, what I want to say that as an educator, as a researcher, as a teacher, as a writer, as an author, we need to know some or other titles, open access titles available online. We need to know at least 3 to 4 or 5 to 10 journals available in our field online as open access journals. So that is the reason this presentation is kept for you. So as Dr. Samin initially, she was talking about why this open access platform or open access publishing is very, very important for the researchers. I just want to show or justify as why open access publishing is important, why we should go for open access. So this particular graphical representation, it clearly shows that why open access is important. The first and foremost thing is that there will be a more exposure to your work. That means when you write any paper, many people will start reading it because it is available openly. It is available free of cost. It is available without any price tag, without any copyright restrictions. So anybody can read, anybody can download. So the chances are more that you will get more citations, because if the resource is available free of cost, anybody can access, anybody can read it, anybody can cite it. So the author or the researcher, they always dream of getting more citation to their articles. In India, what is happening is that we talk more about how many papers we write. Okay, we do not, or we hardly talk about how many citations I got for my paper. This is what is missing. So we need to be more focused on the citations that our works get, our paper, our project, our thesis gets. Okay, so the thesis or the dissertation project or paper that is available in open access domain that exposes our work to the world, saying that this XYZ person has done wonderful work and I need to read it, I need to refer it, I need to talk in my lecture. So you will be getting more citations. And many practitioners can follow it. Many researchers can continue doing research on the area that you have chosen. So your research may influence the policy. That means the policymaker can also get to know what exactly you have done. Even as far as COVID is concerned, many platforms or many publishers are giving access to all the articles written on COVID or pandemic period, socio or scientific or technical aspects concerning the COVID pandemic. So if the publishers are giving access to those kind of crucial paper for the world, then there will be a chances of creating a more aware, more informed citizens. And there are many scientists who are looking for the data or recent developments and recent experiments. So they can also go through that, they can experiment. The laboratories, they badly need that kind of articles. The pharmaceutical industry badly needs that. Researchers need that. Teachers need that. Even the policymakers, based on the findings of the papers, they can formulate or devise the policy. So that's the reason, friends, the open access got a lot of benefits. So the public can access your findings and complaints with grant rules. So this is very, very important. So there are a lot of concepts in publishing: complaints, appeals, okay, retraction, withdrawal, removal, okay. So there are many concepts involved in it. Complaint with grant rules in the sense what? Suppose if somebody has uploaded a paper or there is some issues in that, there could be some legal issue or technical issue, still he has or she has uploaded it, he or she has not taken any permission. There could be some repercussion once such kind of resource is exposed to the world. There could be some possibility that people may follow that article may not be that reliable. So these another aspect. This negative aspect is different from what are the advantage of this publication in open access journal. So we'll be seeing the negative and positive points of open access later. But right now, what we are discussing that it exposes our work, practitioner can follow, researchers can follow, will get higher citation rates, and also it influences the policy making. And this is very important. Taxpayers get value for money. That means open access. Many of the researchers or the funding agencies that are funding the researchers to do research, and these funds come from the government, right? So this is public money. If they do research and then they submit, if it is not accessible to anybody, then there is no utility of the taxpayers' money. So the taxpayers' money will be best utilized. Okay, so best utilized only when the resources are accessible or available online. I request the participants to not mark on the screen because it disturbs. So please do not mark on the screen. So how to remove it? May I know?
Yes, yes, go ahead, sir, please.
So the last thing is that researchers in developing countries can see your work. This is very, very interesting and very important point. I think in library you have seen some books wherein it is clearly written that this book should be sold in Nepal, Bangladesh, Africa, okay, Sri Lanka, India kind of thing. So these Western or foreign publishers, they do publish books in USA or Australia or UK, and to reach these developing countries, they can't put the same price as they put in US or Australia or UK because these are developed countries and people are able to buy those books. But whereas if they want to market those books in the developing countries, so then they need to reduce the price. So what they do is that they come out with a different price pattern for these countries, Asia Pacific or Asian countries. So similarly, it applies to open access publisher or open access publications also. That means the person who is writing from or in USA or UK or Australia, so they are having very good labs, right? As compared to the developing countries, they are having advanced labs. And if they write for open access journals, this is very, very important. If they write for open access journals, that means that open access journal or article can be read by anybody, including the developing countries, readers from developing countries. So that is the beauty of this open access. So we understood from this particular slide that why this open access is very, very important. So friends, here you can see this license. Okay. So this license, this is one of the types of open license. So this author has said that you can use this particular image, but you need to acknowledge me. So this is the meaning of this particular license. So we'll understand later how to interpret the license. So this is not copyright. This is not copyrighted image. This is open licensed image. So how to represent it? CC BY means Creative Commons. Creative Commons is a non-profit agency that provides 6 kinds of open licenses. This is one of the most popular and most or widely used license format. BY means what? Attribution. BY means you need to thank the author. That is enough. You can commercially use it. You can sell it. You can take photocopy. You can change this image. You can put something else here. So you can remix it. You can add any kind of information in this. So that is the indication of this particular license. So we'll discuss about that later. So coming to publishing, as you know that there are 2 kinds of publisher. One is commercial publisher and another is society publisher. Okay? Commercial publisher is one whose job is to run the business. So I'm using this word business. That means he has established a firm, a business firm, a profit-making firm, wherein he launches some journals and who invites the libraries or the universities or colleges and the researchers or the authors to write paper for them. Then they charge some amount for that particular publishing task. So these are commercial publishers. Society publisher means what? Academic publisher. It is also called as academic publishers or research publisher or research institute publisher, R&D publisher kind of thing. Society publisher means these are not basically business-oriented publishers. Like suppose my university is publishing a journal and still we are charging some amount for publishing or subscribing to that journal. So you may be saying that our journal has become commercial because we are charging some amount. But this amount that we are charging is very, very nominal as compared to the publisher. The commercial publishers have a huge setup. They have editorial panel, they have infrastructure, they have printers, they have technical people, graphical designers, the editors, copy editors, proofreaders, subject experts, domain experts, critics, reviewers. So they have n number of people who are joined in that particular publication firm, whereas society publisher may be having all these people, but when it comes to profit making, so society publisher is not focusing mainly on the profit. Okay, they are focusing more on sharing information, sharing knowledge, sharing research findings. So basically there are two groups. One is commercial publisher, another is society publisher. The third thing is that commercial publisher plus society publisher, they come together and they start a journal. So if you see Sage Journal or Oxford University Journal, they have tied up with IITs and IIMs or some other academic institutes, also one MIT or Cambridge or some other institute, Kellogg's or Harvard Business Review. Harvard Business School itself is having a publication, a division. So these people come together and they publish a journal. So in that case, they agree to certain conditions. So in this, again, it becomes commercial and maybe profit may be shared equally, or there could be some percentage they share the profit. So this is ideal. So the question is, where should we write? Should we write for commercial publisher? Should we write for society publisher, or we should write for such publisher or journal which are like this? Means there is a collision, means commercial publisher and society publisher. That I'll tell you later, means which publisher you should really tap. So no publisher is bad unless and until you know how to publish or you know how to evaluate the journal. That's very, very important. I'm not saying that commercial publisher is wrong. Open access publishers are good. So all the journals, assume that all the journals are good. Only thing is that we need to, as a researcher, we need to justify, we need to prove or experiment whether it is a reliable journal or not. Subscription-based journals, print, you all have seen this, means you need to subscribe to the journal. The print journal comes through courier or post. Only e-journal, some subscription-based journals are e-journals wherein login ID and password are required to access that journal. It is not accessible to anybody. Another kind of subscription-based journal wherein print come online journal is also accessible. That means if you subscribe for print journal, then e-journal is available free of cost. Again, these are closed access. Okay, these journals are not accessible to anybody. The sixth aspect or journal is OA journal, completely OA journal. That complete OA journal may be a commercial publisher or by society publisher. You may be wondering as why I said commercial publisher, because nowadays many of the publishers, commercial publishers, are also coming out with open access journals. Say for example, Elsewhere is publishing more than 100 journals. Assume that Elsewhere is publishing more than 100 journals. It must be giving access to 5 to 10 journals which are completely free of cost, accessible openly. Likewise, Oxford University Press or Cambridge, many of the publishers, or Taylor and Francis, many of the publishers now they have realized that at least they need to open some journals as open access journals, because it's their business model. It is their business model to attract the readers or attract the authors, saying that this is how we publish, this is how we publish the articles, this is how we exhibit the standards or the quality, right? So the last thing is open repository. This is very, very interesting aspect. Open repository. Many of us, we do not know what is repository and what is journal. So F1000 is very, very famous repository. We'll see this live. I'll be showing you the site. So far we understood about what is open access, where to find open access journals, and why open access journal is very, very important. So this we understood, and what kind of publishers are available, commercial or society-based publisher, open access journals, open access repository. So we understood this. Now the next question is, what kind of content they do publish? The open access journals are publishing both scholarly articles as well as popular articles. So you may be wondering, what is this popular literature? Popular means it should be popular in true sense. No, it's not about popular. The real meaning of popular is different. Popular means articles, perspectives, opinions. Okay, scholarly articles or papers means research-oriented papers. Research-oriented. The moment you see the paper, you will understand that okay, it has followed some research guidelines like hypothesis, objective, view of literature, discussion, selection of sample, universe, right? And discussion, results, tools and techniques, tools and methods, data analysis technique. So these kind of things usually you will get in research papers, whereas articles are concerned, there may not be any citations, there may not be any headings like or parts like hypothesis, objectives, or review of literature. So this is the simple format, or this is the simple difference between these things, right, friends? So what we understand from this particular slide is that the open access journals not only publishing scholarly articles, but they are also publishing scholarly, non-scholarly or popular articles. A simple example for understanding what is scholarly journal and what is popular journal. You all have seen India Today. You all have read The Week, India Today, right? Business Today. So these are all called as magazines, okay? Magazines. Here you will not get research-oriented articles, because to read these journals, any layman can also understand them, okay? But whereas to read the research papers or research article, a subject expert is required. The person who is trained. Say, for example, I am a professor in nanotechnology. I have written a research paper wherein I have followed this methodology like introduction, review of literature, methods, okay, then discussion and results. So this particular paper can't be understood by a layman. Suppose a student who is belonging to computer science, who is belonging to nanotechnology, or who is belonging to any allied subject, he or she can understand that particular paper very well because it is quite technical. Whereas popular articles are concerned, anybody can understand them. So friends, open access journals carries out all kinds of papers. Another second example is that if you open any journal, you will find some sections in that. What kind of sections? You will see letter to editor, editorial, research papers, book reviews, okay, review articles, opinion, perspective, observations. So these kind of sections you usually find. The third example for this is that if you open Economic and Political Weekly, so you will get to know that. You will open University News published by Association of Indian Universities. There also you will find different segments or sections. So what we understand from this particular slide is that open access journal may come out with scholarly articles as well as popular articles. There could be some sections in that journal. So it is not that different from the old or traditional publication or traditional journals. So we understood about the content. Now we need to understand what kind of documents these open access journals also publish. Okay, so this clarity has to be there. Article, as I said, the articles that you read in magazines like India Today or The Week, those are articles. Those are not research oriented. Whereas papers are research oriented. Articles could be research oriented, but you will not find the research pattern there, right? So papers are highly research oriented, scholarly. Those could be quantitative or qualitative or having mixed method. Theoretical papers, desk-based paper, library-based papers, literature review-based papers, methodological papers, right? And the third point is preprint and postprint. This is what I'm going to highlight a lot in this particular presentation. We need to understand what is this preprint, right? Preprint is a manuscript, okay? It's just a manuscript. So what is manuscript? I have written a paper. It is not yet checked by anybody. It is not edited by anybody. Value addition has not gone into it. So it is just a mere manuscript. So manuscript is called as preprint. There are some archives, there are some platforms wherein you can post your manuscript. So you may ask me a question that, sir, if I post my manuscript, people may copy it. People may write paper on that. People may claim or people may publish their article after seeing my paper. So friends, if you are thinking in that angle, then you are far behind, because the world has reached to such a position wherein even the raw data that you have collected, these can also be shared online. So we have open data concept, okay? We have open data concept. So there are a lot of concepts are there. We'll be discussing later. So let us understand again what is preprint. Preprint is such a work, literary work, scholarly work, research work, which is in draft mode, which is in manuscript mode, and this can be uploaded on any archive. What is archive that we'll see? So I have given two examples here: social science archive or social sociology archive or social archive. So in that you will get all social science related preprint articles, preprints. Okay? Preprints means those are in manuscript format. Psychology, in the psychology subject, there is an archive, so you can access that. So what is postprint? Postprint is an edited manuscript. That means I have written an article and I have submitted to a publisher, and the publisher has sent it to editorial board, and editorial board has sent it to reviewers, and after reviewing, after editing, the final paper is ready and it is ready to go to a press to publish. Press in the sense it could be online journal or it is print journal. So that stage, edited paper is called as postprint. Okay, non-edited paper is called as preprint. What is working paper? Working paper is the work is in progress. That means I have written one paper and I need some suggestions and input from the readers or the stakeholders, concerned stakeholders. So even working paper archives are also available. RepPEc is very popular research papers in economics. You can type in Google and you will get to know. So working papers are also there. Even in economics, you forget about the science, technology, and medicine. Even in economics, there are many working papers coming up. Many working papers, libraries specialized in economics are having huge number of working papers. We do not know that. We do not even know how this working paper looks like. So the important point here is that, can you cite preprint? This is very, very important. When I'm writing my article, so I got to know that some articles are available in preprint format. So can I cite it? Some are available in postprint format. These are not published, friends. These are not published, but this is the status of the article. So can I cite them? Can I use them in my research work? Yes, absolutely. You can use them in your research work, provided you need to cite the articles. Okay. So grey literature is such literature which is not following any publication standards or formats like ISBN, ISSN, or it may not be accessible, or it is not being published in any journal or any platform, but it is accessible within the society, within the business, within the institute. The best example for this is that many corporate firms are having business intelligence reports. Okay, they do not share with anybody. So that business intelligence report is accessible only to those stakeholders of that company. Okay, so when you go for any research on corporate sector, so they may allow you to read that grey literature also. Another classic example for grey literature is that your PhD thesis. So in the past, the PhD thesis were not accessible to the students or not accessible to the outsiders. Okay, the students or the researchers, they used to come to the library and they used to check and they used to go. But these theses and dissertations were not accessible to anybody. So thanks to the internet, because of internet, the theses are also coming up online, so anybody can read them. So this grey literature is nothing but the literature that is accessible within the organization, which is not available online. So such kind of literature can also be cited. Review papers, open access journals also publish review papers like other journals publish. Reviews means review articles, review based articles. So on a particular theme or concept or idea, people write review papers. They do review, they visit different sources and then they start writing a review paper. And reading review paper is a wonderful experience. I must tell you that. Please try reading a lot of review papers. So that's very, very important. So let me reshare my presentation. Understood is that we understood publishing platforms. Okay, we also understood what kind of content is found in open access journal as well as traditional journals, and we understood what kind of formats or type of documents do you find in the journals. Okay, so these are the formats. So this slide is very, very important, friends, because many of the researchers and teachers, we do not know what is preprint and postprint, but the Westerners, they have started this movement long back. Means preprint archives are very, very popular in research arena. especially the social science and humanities, we do not know about that, but still in humanities and social science also, there are a lot of preprint archives available. So what is the difference between this open access journal and subscription based journals? There is no difference at all. So the only difference is the mode of delivery and mode of platform. Okay? And as far as business model is concerned, the business model is slightly different. Okay. So in the subscription based journals, that to print journals, you know that you used to send some amount at money order or courier or money order or DD, or used to send the check or online transfer. They used to start sending you the journals. Right? Whereas libraries subscribe to the journals wherein they contact an agent, and then the agent represent all the publishers and they start sending the journals, and there the libraries get discount also. So similarly in OA journal also discount option is there. Article processing charges waiver is also there. So there are different segments of different aspects related to public business models. We'll try to see some business models later. Okay. So mode of delivery or platform are different, because in online journals what happens is you will be accessing the journals on their website or on one aggregated platform or a publisher platform. Say for example, Taylor and Francis is a publisher who is publishing 100 journals. So all 100 journals are accessible online. So some are available in open access domain, some are paid journals. So that means you need to pay some amount to access those journals. Whereas Taylor and Francis is also publishing some journals, those are available in open access domain. So some same peer review process is there, whether it is open access journal or the traditional journal, subscription based journal or traditional journal. So same peer review is there. It could be a double blind review or single blind review or triple blind review or open review or collaborative review, that we'll discuss later. Periodicity pattern may change, because some journals may be quarterly or monthly or half yearly like that. Production, again, it differs, because production, when it is a traditional publisher, a print-based publisher, they have printers, they have a different setup. Whereas online journals, as you know, that they need the people behind the screen to do some technical work, and then they upload on the site. So the medium is different, the approach is different. Publishing standards are almost similar. Okay, there could be some difference in terms of author guidelines or rules for editing or rules for review kind of thing. No question about the quality, because both the journals, open access journal and traditional journals, they do focus on quality, and nobody says that we do not publish the articles which are having quality. So nobody announces that. Nobody says that, no journal says that you please send any article whether it is qualitative or not, we'll publish it. No journal says that. And reliability of the work, so both are reliable, open access journals and traditional publishing models, but there are loopholes, there are positive and negative points both the sides, both OA journals and traditional journals. Coming to types of open access, this is again a very important slide. We have green and gold open access. These are very, very popular models. What is green? Or repository based open access journals. Unfortunately, we are not aware of this repository based open access journal. What we know is, we know about gold open access only. So what is green access? Author self-archives the published work into a third-party repository or an institutional repository. So in this, what happens is that the article which is written for a publisher who is open access publisher, right? Open access publisher, who allows you to put that particular article, the published article, in any open access repository. It could be preprint or postprint or a published paper. Preprint means what? It is still in process. It is not edited. It is not reviewed. Okay. Postprint means it is edited or reviewed by some publisher. So how to get to know that whether this publisher allows me to put the article, postprint article, in any repository? Repository is nothing but a platform or a website wherein you can put or upload. Okay. So we'll be seeing the examples of repository. Again, it depends on the policy. It depends on the publisher policy and open licenses. Okay. So this open license indicates that, okay, this is green open access access and you can put that particular. We'll see the example. We'll understand it later. I know it is a little difficult to understand the concept. Okay, when I show you the examples, you will understand it. Gold open access means what? Publishing in a fully open access journal, where publisher provides free and immediate online access. So this we all know that. Means we are sending the paper for a publisher, open access publisher. They may charge article processing charge. They may say that you need to pay $20, $30 or $2,000, $3,000 to publish a paper in our journal. So they do publish and then they give access to that particular article. Okay, that means the journal itself is full text, freely available, fully available. So where can I get more number of gold open access journals? So you can go to directory of open access journals or directory of open access books. So these are providing full access to the article. So there could be chances that the publisher is charging some amount. What is hybrid journal? So the APC is paid for an individual journal article. APC means article processing charges is paid for an individual journal article to be made open access in an otherwise subscription-based journal. So hybrid journal is such a journal. It is neither open access nor closed access. Okay. So here the business model is completely different. When you write any article for hybrid open access journal, and if you demand that I'll publish my article in your journal, hybrid open access journal, but please provide me access to full text access to this particular article, not only to me, but to everybody who wants to read my article. So then they charge very high APC. Okay. So that means the subscription based journal, which is required to be subscribed by everybody, wherein you want to write an article, then if you pay some APC amount, it could be very high. And if that APC is paid, that article will be made openly available to everybody. So that is hybrid open access. What is diamond open access? Open access journals that are free for readers to access and for authors to publish it. It is fully OA. That means many of the society journals, society-based journals, they do not charge a single pay. Even their journals are completely open access. No need to subscribe to that journal. You need not have login ID and password to access them. The authors who want to write for diamond open access journals, they need not spend some amount to publish the paper there. Okay, that is called diamond open access. What is bronze open access? A freely available journal article that has no open access license. No open access license means no Creative Commons license, so cannot be considered as fully open access. Okay, so this is basically a journal which is having this copyright symbol or copyright, but it has given access to everybody free of cost. But there are some restrictions. So there is a difference between free access and open access. As we initially saw that open access means it should be free from copyright restriction. That means open access journal has to use Creative Commons license. But whereas bronze open access journal, wherein the journal is accessible free of cost, not openly. When I say open means it should be free from price tag, it should be free from copyright restriction. You can download, you can reprint, you can remix, and you can do anything with that. But whereas free journal or free open access or free journal, that doesn't allow you to remix it, that doesn't allow you to commercially utilize it, because that is freely accessible. Free means it is free from price tag, but it is not free for editing further. What is black open access? Black open access is nothing but illegal open access journal or illegal open access article. Illegal means what? The journal could be predatory, the author could be fake. Okay, so these kind of practices are also there, and while we discuss about predatory journals, we definitely take up this particular matter. So I'll just give 30 seconds, so please just see this particular slide and you will understand what is open access publishing and what kind of platforms are there, what kind of business models are there. So this is very representational, so you can just check it. So a researcher decides to publish a paper, and he wants to publish in an open access journal, and he pays APC if required, means if the journal demands. So this is gold route, and immediately the publisher allows access to that particular article. That means that journal itself is completely open access. whereas publish in a subscription-based journal, okay, subscription-based journal, wherein your article will be made available openly, but otherwise the rest of the article may not be accessible openly. Because why your article is being made open? Because you paid some extra amount, you paid article processing charges, and immediately your article is available openly. So whereas this particular model, green route, we understood gold route, wherein we send a paper for publication, we pay APC, and immediately my article is available openly. Whereas in hybrid journal, the article processing charge is very high, because only your article will be made openly available. Whoever pays high amount, their article are made available immediately. Whereas in green route, what happens is that your article may be kept in a repository. You can self-archive the repository. Okay, you can self-archive the repository, and how to archive it, and what are the platforms that will say. So in this particular platform, in this particular green route, the article may be immediately available or delayed. So this we call embargo period. Okay, embargo period is nothing but a journal publisher accepts the paper, he publishes that, and he says that your article will be made available openly only after 6 months or 12 months. Okay, so here you can see APC. You will not find any APC here, right? So to access it openly, the article that you are sent for publication, to access it immediately, it depends on the publisher's rules and regulation. So he may openly make it accessible, or there could be a delayed open access, because it depends on the publisher's policy. That we'll see. So some access patterns. So as far as we discussed about content and type of document, right, and also types of business models. So some access points are very, very important. Access point means some journals are partially open, like in hybrid journals. So partially some articles are open, selected part or selected articles. Even if you see some very paid journals or very popular commercial publishers journal, they also give some sample articles free of cost, okay, partly, or they give access to letters to editor, they give access to book reviews, okay, not all the full text papers. There could be a dual mode access means how I can access it, how I can trace it, okay, how I can refer, how I can download. So I'm talking about that. Dual mode means some journals are available in print format as well as in online format, as I say. Delayed journals, there are delayed journals means it could be in open access journal or traditional journal. Delayed journals means they publish articles taking a lot of time, or their journal issues come very late, or it is also concerned with the article that are going to be made openly available after certain period. That is called embargo period. Embargo period is nothing but publisher takes some months or years to make that article or the journal full text available for everybody to access. So how to get to know whether this particular journal has, suppose you are looking for green open access journal, so you want to know whether such kind of journals are available or not, or after 1 year is he going to make my journal, make my article open access or not. So if you want to know these things, publisher policies, if you want to know the publisher policies, so then you need to refer to a particular platform, Sherpa Romeo platform, that I will show you later, right? So this is very, very important, because there is one publisher, he is publishing 100 journals. So it is not fixed that the rules are applicable to all the 100 journals. A single publisher may have different rules for each and every journal, okay? A solo publisher, a publisher publishing only one particular journal, so for that he may decide some rules. A publisher publishing 10 journals, so all these 10 journals may be having a different embargo period or different access period or different access patterns or business models for that, okay? So per capita means per capita developing countries, especially some publishers, they do give access to some journals or part of journals or all the journals to the developing countries to access, okay? So subsidized journal, subsidized means discount, okay, offers, right? Now finding an open access publisher. So this is what we were discussing now. Gradually we'll start seeing some examples. So I have put one here in parenthesis. wherever you find these kind of numbers, that means I'm going to demonstrate to that particular website. In case if I miss any of the tools like this, so you can check on your own. So let us see where I can get to know what all publishers who are publishing open access journals. So these many publishers are there. This is just a small list. Okay, this I got it from Concordia, means Canada's website library. So you can check these particular platforms wherein you will get to know different open access journals. Even in open access, even in Scopus also you can get to know different open access journals. So first of all, we need to know what journals are available. What journals are available in open access domain so that I can write for them. So let us see this DOAJ, Director of Open Access Journal, quickly, and then we'll proceed further. So this is the Director of Open Access Journals. Please spend a lot of time on this particular platform. You can search by article or you can search by journal also. If I simply type in management, if I'm a management student or management researcher, so I'll type management, right? And here there are option title, ISSN, subject, publisher. So I will say publisher, okay? Or you can say anybody who is having the publisher name starting with management or their name having management. So you can select that. So see here, I'll select, this is a relevant thing. I think either I should select the title or subject. So I'll select subject. On management, I want to know how many journals are there. Okay. So it says that there are 469 index journals. Index journals means in this particular journal. So friends, here you will get to know what kind of charges they do charge to publish a paper. So no charges. Can you see here? No APC. So here, what is the APC? Can you see here? 20,000 or 2 lakh. Okay, it is I think 20 lakh. What is this? IDR. So you will also see the license. This is Creative Commons license. The acknowledgement has to be there by no non-commercial, non-derivative. That means you should not use the content for commercial purpose. Whichever articles are published in this particular journal, you can't use it for commercial purpose. Whatever you use, you need to cite it. Means by means acknowledge. NT means no derivatives. Means you can't copy and you can't change it in a story format or in animated format, or you are not supposed to prepare a video on that. So non-derivatives, right? Share alike means this is what I am going to discuss later. So let me complete clear it now. So in this case, this journal allows this particular Creative Commons license. That means there is no copyright license here. So these are all open access licenses. Why open access license? Because all these journals are available in open access platform. Okay. So nowhere you will find the copyright tag or copyright logo. So in this case, in this journal, you need to acknowledge. By means in all the Creative Commons, by is compulsory. Okay. You need to acknowledge. You need to thank. You need to cite the source. Share alike means what? You can commercially use it. You can derive it. You can remix it. But you should use the same license. Okay. When you share the product, when you share the article, you need to use the same license. So that's the condition. So here are the subjects. I'm not showing you this platform in detail. Okay. You can see out of these 469 index journals, how many journals those are having this particular license. Okay. How many journals which are having this particular license. Okay. How many are the journals which are having zero license? Okay. Zero license means you can do anything to that particular journal or articles. So we'll discuss what is that means what is zero Creative Commons mean. So I request all of you to please visit this site and please start accessing these particular websites. Now, second point I wanted to show is that there are many journal finder tools available now. If you want to write an article for paid or closed access journal, if you want to write an article for open access journals, for both the cases, whether you want to write for closed access journal or open access journal, there are many publishers who have opened this journal finder tool or platform wherein you can get to know whether the article that I'm writing is fitting into this particular journal or not. So let us see this journal finder tool or journal suggesters. Okay, how this works, I'll show you. So these publisher basically ask you to write the manuscript title. Okay, what is the manuscript title? that you can write here. If you have the text, if you have written the abstract, you can type in here. Then also you can select what is the subject area of this abstract or title. You can select computer science, right? And you just click on suggest journals and it will start suggesting you the journals. You can also refine your recommendation, okay? Recommendation in the sense you can refine your search. Minimum impact factor kitna hona chahiye means 5, 10, 2, that you can write. Maximum time to first decision. Maximum time to first decision means when you write a paper for a journal, how much time they take means maximum it should take 6 months. I can wait till 6 months, not beyond that. Indexing service, it should be indexed in Scopus, it should be indexed in Web of Science, so that you can write. So this is very, very important points. This is what I wanted to show you. I want to search only in open access journals. Okay. So right now what I'll type here that introduction to, say for example, this is very crude or very introduction to human resource management. Okay. Management. This is my title. So I'll simply I'll select open access journals and suggest journals. So please fill out it is saying. I'll simply space this only. So suggest journals. So it is suggesting me these journals. Okay. Journal of Cloud Computing, Big Data, Informatics. Okay. Education Technology. So you may be wondering, I typed in for human resource management. How come these IT related journals coming up? Okay. So this is where you need to spend a lot of time to check these, because there could be some elements those are related to these particular journals. So that is why you need to fill up this particular form properly and then you need to search. So if you spend at least half an hour or 1 hour on this particular journal finder tools, you will get to know how to use this particular journal. So here, all these OA journal, open access journals, these are all open access journals. See, you can see the acceptance rate also. So 47% of the articles received are accepted. Means acceptance rate is this much. Okay, if they have received 2,000 papers, so 47% of the articles are accepted, right? So this is first decision. How many days they take to inform the decision. Means if they have received 2,000 papers, so this many of the papers took 40 days, not beyond that. This is average period, I should say. So we understood how to use this journal finder. So likewise, there are different journal finders of different publishers. These are selected publishers. This doesn't mean that only these publishers have provided this particular journal finder. So two things we need to observe here. One thing is that when we want to know where to write, whether it is closed access or open access journals, we need to rely on this publication journal finder. In the past, what we used to do is we used to contact the expert or reviewer or our colleagues, senior colleagues, and we used to ask them, where should I publish my paper? Right now, these tools are assisting you whether to publish in open access journal or closed access journal. Now, points to consider, friends, so to publish or to choose a journal, you need to consider these points, whether it is national or international journal, and in which language it publishes. Does it publish in both Hindi or English or any other regional languages? And in which database that journal is indexed. This is very, very important. Whether it is publishing only multidisciplinary articles or specialty articles or only focused on particular subject. Journal's content or area, scope or suitable for your paper. So you need to check this also. Journal's content. What is the content of the journal? What is the scope of the journal? What kind of articles are being published in that journal? Chances of acceptance, whether it is high or low or nil. What is the impact factor of that particular journal? What is the review pattern, whether it is open, whether it is what you should say, open peer review or just peer review or editor only checks it, or simply it is a formality and it is published. So there are some other practical matters also, that whether they charge a huge amount or whether they take a lot of time to publish. These many aspects are there. So friends, quickly I want to ask you a simple question. You can put it in chat box also. I want to see which is the most important point here while choosing a journal. Can you please put a number, serial number in the chat box? Let me see means what you say. I want to see means what answer you want to give. So Amir says 3. Okay, Harinakshi says 5 is important. Yes. And Sambat says 3 is important. That is database that indexes a journal. Yes. So any other answers? Any other answer? 7 is very important. That is impact factor. Vijaya is saying that. Okay. So Bharti says 5. Selvaraju says 7, and Sambat says 3, 5, 7. So this is, I like this answer, Sambat's answer, because you can't say only one point, but there could be some order. Even Dr. Suganti says 9, or Professor Tushti Sharma says 5. So friends, if you ask me what I usually see, okay, I see the first thing is that how popular this, how well versed or how authentic or how what is that? Qualitative. This quality you can judge only by impact factor. That is first. The second very important point is journal's content area or scope, whether it is suitable for your paper or not. So this is very important. So sometimes suitability comes first, because you need to check whether this journal is really useful for you or not. Then later on you are going to see impact factor. So that is the reason even Dr. Jyotika says 4, 5, 7. All the answers are right. So it all depends on our approach or perspective. Okay. But all these points are very important. You can't ignore. Now to help you out, I'll just show you one side, that is think, check, submit. This is very important to see this particular website. I do not know whether you know this particular platform or not, but this helps you avoid some predatory journals. This helps you follow certain checkpoints, because nobody has given us a checkpoint to write a paper in any journal, right? So this is think, check, submit. So before we decide to publish or when we are writing something, we need to think a lot. We need to check check means what? We need to check the publisher whether he is reliable or not. So submit. And if everything is yes, everything is okay, then you can submit. So here, let me click on book chapters. I'll quickly show you. Okay, think. What you should think. More research is being published worldwide on that particular, this publisher has published more research. New publishers are launched every week. Each week, many researchers have concerns about predatory. It can be challenging. So are you submitting your research to a trusted publisher? You need to just go through this. Means you need to check whether this is really a right journal or right publisher or not. So predatory publishing issues are also discussed in this. Check means this is very important. Think, already you are thinking, you know how to think, okay, how to go for, already you have answered. So check is very important. This is checkpoint. Reference this list for your chosen publisher to check if it is trusted or not, whether this journal or a publisher is trusted or not. Do your colleagues know the publisher or not? Can you easily identify and contact the publisher? Is the publisher clear on their website without any type of peer review? Are the books or the journals indexed in services that you use or your colleague use? Okay, so a lot of things are there. If answer is yes to many of the questions, then if your answer is yes to most of the questions, then you can submit the paper. So this is a simple, this seems very simple, but very important for the researcher. So this is what is important. Now, article processing charges, as I said, this is a very popular method of financing open access publishing, because open access publishing runs their business through this only. Because if you do not pay them, they do not run their business. APC, this cost, other than article processing charges, some publishers may ask you some extra amount for some XYZ reasons, XYZ processing charges also. So it is not that only APC is involving everything, right? And there are some journals, they allow you pay and publish. Pay and publish in the sense it could be APC only, but many of the predatory journals, they go for just pay and publish. They do not go for reviewing the paper. Not all publishers charge. This is very important, friends. You need to know that many of the open access journals, they do not charge, because I gave you a very good reason that in Directory of Open Access Journals, 11,000 journals do not charge you APC, completely freely available. Okay, that means you can freely publish our article. So sometimes it is very costly affair. Publishing in open access journal is costly affair, because they charge very hefty amount. If that article or if that journal is highly indexed, okay, if that journal is very popular, it has got high impact factor, then they charge you huge amount. Okay, I know I may be wrong in stating this particular example. I heard long back that IISc, Indian Institute of Science, is spending more than 10 crore rupees on APC only. That means the researchers and teachers who are teaching in that particular interest of science, if they write for high impact factor journal, they ask for high impact factor, that to open access journal, they ask for APC, article processing charges. Then that article processing charges is more than 10 crore rupees. So this is a very huge amount. Okay. Author funder employer pays. Sometimes the employer also pays that amount APC. Funder says that means if you have been funded by somebody, then the funder may pay. And in some cases, the funder and employer doesn't pay you. Author only have to pay. So that thing is also there. So you can publish with open access journal or closed access journal, APC is there, or else you can go for self-archiving. Even self-archiving is also got some or other amount. Okay. So where to check this article processing charges? So let me demonstrate this also. So I will be taking 10 minutes extra because I have not yet come to the last part of this presentation. Maybe I'll be extending for another 10 minutes of my presentation. So right now it is 12:25, right? So here, this is Taylor and Francis, publisher. So I want to know, my objective is what? I want to know which is the journal that is important to publish. Okay, that already I showed you the journal finder tool. Okay, that you are well versed. Second is I want to know what is the open access cost. Okay, so how to find this open access cost finder? So you can go here, you can select a journal. See, for example, I select this AICCM journal, subject category. Okay, so all, I'll just simply search. I'll simply search. Fully open access, open select. So the options are there here. Then it says this is AICCM bulletin. Okay, so this follows this particular license, that is CC by NC. This is Creative Commons, and attribution is required, non-commercial and non-derivative. Okay, so what is the APC charge? What charges they charge for this particular journal? So unsolicited original research paper or unsolicited special issue paper. So you can select it one, or you can select an option. This one, country India. I'm just quickly showing so that I can save time, so that I can show you as many tools like this possible. So I'll go to India. So standard APC plus flat. So let me select this. Say for example, I'll select this country, it is Australia. Okay, so it says that for Australians it is Australian dollar 3,750 to publish one article here. Okay, so likewise you can select, you can check in this particular platform. Similarly, there are different platforms wherein you can check the article processing charges. Okay. Now coming to review process, already you know about review, what is the traditional review pattern, but I wanted to show you this single blind review or double blind review, because this happens even in open access journals. Or single blind review means what? The reviewer doesn't know who is the author, or the author doesn't know who is the reviewer. It is vice versa. Double blind review means both the people do not know themselves, means who is reviewing my paper and the author doesn't know who is reviewing who has written this paper. Okay. So author doesn't know who is reviewing his paper and the reviewer doesn't know who has written the paper. That is double blind review. Open review means what? It is openly available. Anybody can review and comment on that. I'll be showing that example. Third party review means the publisher sends your paper to third party to get consultation or review for your particular paper. Collaborative review means 2-3 people come together and they sit and then they discuss on your paper and then they give one particular single review of your paper. So this is a collective review, I should say. Post-publication review means what? The article is already published and still the publisher allows readers to review it. So the classic example for this is ResearchGate. ResearchGate used to allow the readers to review. Even Google Books also allows to review the books, right? Published papers. So this is very, very important. This is one of the examples for open review. Open review means anybody can review, their name you can see. So this is F1000 Research. This is a repository. It is a preprint repository. Preprint repository means you understand. Preprint means manuscript is uploaded on this and the open reviewers are reviewing your paper. So let us see this. Let us go to this particular website and I'll show you. Quickly I'll show you because we are running short of time. I need to take questions also. So here is an article that is uploaded on this website, and again this F1000 research is also asking for APC. It doesn't simply archive your paper here. It asks APC, but it doesn't have ISSN kind of thing. This particular database is listed in some databases also, like the indexing databases like PubMed and even Scopus kind of things. So this is what I wanted to show you. This is open review. You can see the review. Okay? You can see the review here. What kind of review has been given by some reviewers. You can see this second review, right? Second review you can see. You can see this open access. This article is available open access. You can see the versions also. So whether it is revised or not. You can see the track record, means when it is reviewed, what is updated in this. Okay. So this is the reviewer status. So similarly, you can download this article also. You can cite. So this is a very fantastic idea to see as how this open review really looks like, right? So let us move ahead quickly. And this open license I wanted to show you. This you already know, copyright license. That means restriction is there. Creative Commons license means there are some rights reserved. Rights reserved means there is some condition, like you can't commercially utilize it. You can't derive it. You can't create a different version of that. You need to cite it. So some restrictions are there, but otherwise these are called open access licenses. Public domain in the sense no right is reserved. You can print it, publish it. You can't change the name of the publisher, name of the author, but you need to cite it. You can distribute it. You can print like anything. So you can remix it. So that kind of fully open license is provided to the user. So we have not heard about this CC or Creative Commons zero license. So this is very, very interesting, zero or public domain license. So in this, what happens is you should use if you want to waive all copyright and related rights for work that you have created. That means there is two angles to understand this. One is that you have created a work that has CC license, that has copyright license, but now you want to put it. You want to convert it to CC0, means you want to make it openly available to everybody. So that possibility is there. The second point is that you create such work which is initially only you are putting this CC0 license, or else you can put Creative Commons license. We'll be discussing further in the coming slides. So public domain means what? This work is available for public use if you have identified a work that is free of known copyright restriction. You should be very much aware, as the copyright restriction is no longer there, because in every country there is a restriction that after 60 years of the publication, okay, or till the author lives, and after 60 years, so then only you can convert it as a public domain or public domain document. So you can later on you can print. I think in classic books, in literature, if you go to any bookshop, you can see Shakespeare's lot of books are published by different publishers. Okay, Adam Smith books are published by different publishers. Okay, Chanakya's books are published in different publishers. Same content is there. Ramayana is published by different publishers. Bhagavad Gita is published by different publishers. In the sense, there is no copyright restriction. Either these books have crossed 60 years, or you need to see that particular copyright setup, or as far as Copyright Act 1957 is concerned, accordingly you can go for public domain. So these are the examples. So this states that this is Creative Commons license, that means open license. Here CC0 means what? You can do anything with this. You can make an animated copy of this. You can sell it. You can even earn money also, because here it is zero. You can do anything. This license is stated that. So friends, these are the 6 licenses I was talking about. So this is the most popular license, that is attribution only. That means you need to thank only. You can commercially use it, you can derive it, you can refix it, you can reuse it. Non-derive it is not possible, but thanking is required. Again, you need to cite the source, but share alike means what? The person who is using this particular license, the person who wants to commercially utilize it, he or she also used to use the same license. So this is a tricky license, but whereas this license concern, thanking is important, but commercially you can't utilize it. Okay, you can't utilize the article or the work. So this is not only applicable to the paper or article, it is applicable to PPT also, it is applicable to video, it is applicable to audio files also. So this license is talking about non-commercial plus no derivatives. You can't derive it, you can't make it as a story, you can't make it as a film, movie kind of thing. So these are the basic open licenses. I need not discuss further because I hope you understood this. So if you understand 2 or 3 licenses, easily you can understand others also. So in all these licenses, what common thing you find is that CC and BY. CC BY means what? CC is indicating Creative Commons. That is indicating that this is an open license. BY means attribution or courtesy or acknowledgement. That is very, very important. So which license give more freedom? So certainly this 0 public domain license give more freedom to do anything with that work. Okay. Again, this license also just thanking is required. Share alike, non-commercial. So commercial you can't utilize it. Okay. So these particular licenses are very, very important. These are used in OERs also, open education resources also, and these can't be used in open educational resources. So these licenses talk about the least freedom, and these licenses provide you most freedom. Okay. So how to use this Creative Commons license? Say for example, I have used this PPT, right? So at the end of my PPT, if I put this particular image, that means you will assume that I can use Santosh sir's PPT for commercially utilize it. Okay, but I need to thank him. I can remix it. I can change the content here and there. So this is what this particular license is indicating. So these are the examples. I just simply put the examples like this. Okay. Wherever you notice this, you can interpret it very well. Okay. So here different licenses there. Okay. Here different licenses there. You can interpret it very well after seeing this. So it is not allowing you to commercially utilize it, but share alike is required. Thanking is required. So creating this license is very, very easy. You can go to this particular slide and you can this website and you can create your own license. Okay, that is very, very simple. So how to create your license? It is simple. Click on share your work. Share your work means what license you want to give. Okay. So those who do not understand how to use this logo, okay, how to use a particular logo, so you can go to this. You can answer these questions. Allow adoptions of your work to be shared. Okay. Yes, you can say yes or no, or yes as long as others share alike. So accordingly, the license will be changed. So I'll say yes. Allow commercial uses of your work. No, I don't want to give that my work for commercial utilization. So I'll change this. The moment I do that, the license logo is created here. Just you need to copy it and paste it. Okay. You need to copy it and paste it. Okay. And you can also get the code also. You can use this code, that code, and you can put it in the website also if your website is completely available, free of cost or openly available, showing a particular license. So you understood how to generate this license. Okay. So this is the code. You can copy and paste it in your program code. So if you just want a compact icon, you can simply copy and paste it. Okay. You can copy image and you can paste it anywhere you want. Okay. So let me move a little fast. Okay. So Google Advanced Search, if you go to Google Advanced Search and Google Images, YouTube, you can find these particular licenses. I simply show you. I do not want to take much time. Let me go to Advanced Search option, and then I'll show you where open licenses are available. So can you see here? Usage rights. Free to use, free to share kind of things. Even if you go to YouTube, if you go to YouTube, you can download some open licensed videos also. Say for example, I am simply typing the management again. Management. So the moment I type in, I get this filters option. When you click on that, here this Creative Commons license videos, all these are having Creative Commons license. So this is what YouTube says that. So you can download and you can work on it, you can remix it. This is what it indicates. But you need to be very, very cautious while using that, because sometimes by mistake, the person who has uploaded this video must have selected Creative Commons license. Okay. But you should be cautious. Otherwise, when it is showing Creative Commons license, that means you need to use the Creative Commons license. You can remix it, you can use it for any different purpose. Right. So so far I demonstrated so many platforms. Let me move a little faster. Okay. So I show you this also, how to generate the open license. I also showed you how to check the open license images or videos or documents. So I have listed all these things, just you need to Google it and you can check. I also promised you that what are the terms and conditions or publishers policies. You can go to Sherpa Romeo and you can check. In this you will get to know what kind of repository or what kind of conditions related to depositing your article in a particular repository is concerned. So for example, I am typing in economics. Okay, simply I will type economics journal title. So it will show me this. These are the list of journals. These are all open access journals. So when I click on this, it will show me whether it is charging me OFE. OFE means article processing charges or not. What kind of license it uses. Okay. What kind of terms and conditions are concerned with the accepted version, published version. Okay, so you can see here all these terms and conditions. You can, what is the embargo period? Embargo period means how many months it takes to make your article open access. No embargo period in this, so that's why you can access this particular platform. So let me go to Zenodo is also very popular. I do not want to show you. It means you can explore it because you can save some time. Repositories, as I said, there is an institutional repository or third-party repository. Institutional repository means like this, IIT Bombay's institutional repository. Even I can show you our repository also, for university repository. In this, all the faculty of IIT Bombay are kept, means the papers of them are kept in this. It could be possibly accessible openly or partially it is accessible openly. Open Door is also very good platform. I wanted to show you, but it takes time, so that's why I am avoiding this. So what is this Open Door? Open Door is nothing but it will give you the list of repositories available worldwide. Even you can place our university's repository also. So this repository is basically utilized for uploading our article on that. Okay. So whereas research and academia, these do not allow these many options. I think I should not discuss this particular technicality, so we can explore it later. This open access addendum is very important. It happens when the publisher is charging huge amount of money. Okay, when the publisher says that some restrictions are there to publish your paper, I am not okay with the open license that you are seeking. So in that case, you can use this addendum. Addendum is nothing but it is an agreement between the author and the publisher saying that, okay, you are saying that this is the rule and regulation of the publisher to publish the article, but I want to amend it. This is my requirement. This is my request that you please agree to that. So that kind of case-to-case requests are entertained by the publisher. So you can check this addendum. That is very important. Publication delay, already you know that many of the journals, they take a lot of time. If it is very qualitative, they do take a lot of time to publish your papers. You can see this date, means when it is received, when it is accepted, and when it is published. So why this publication delay happens, you need to check the checkpoints as why we should avoid this publication delay. In open access journals, publication delay is there only if you write for very big journals which are very popular. Okay. Persistent IDs, identifiers is very important now because of open access. Many people are writing, and there could be chances that somebody who is having the same name, okay, so they may claim your same name. If Santosh is writing a paper, but some other person is utilizing that particular article, means in the sense he is taking credit for that. So that is the reason persistent identifiers are required. Like on book we have ISBN number, ISSN number. On journal we have ISSN number. On book we have ISBN number. Similarly, so the publications and data and fields like DOA, digital object identifier is there. Similarly, for authors also there is an identifier like ORCID account, okay, Google Scholar Profile ID, Researcher ID, ResearchGate ID. So you need to have this ID very necessary. So open research data is data that is accessible free of cost, that can be remixed or that can be used for research. These are the examples. Open science, it comes with different flavors. Okay, it is just an umbrella, a concept for several practices that aim at making scientific knowledge publicly available to everyone. So these are the new trends or new concepts that is emerging as far as open access is concerned. Citizen science is also there, wherein citizens are involved in projects. Okay, so they are also given the task to do research. Research, they will assist you. Okay, they will assist you, and they will be a partners in your knowledge journey. So this citizen journal is also there. The only advantage is that citizens will be sensitized on a particular topic, on a theme. They will be involved in this kind of activities. That means you are educating them. This is open consultancy. There is an open consultancy concept is also there, like open access. We have open science, open data, open consultancy. This is one of my project wherein we are providing open consultancy for research scholars. This is also another project of mine wherein I am sharing some experts interviews on open interview. So I'll just skip these particular slides. These are not that important, but I wanted to highlight on this that how to avoid the predatory journal. I have asked you to check the particular website, that is ThinkChup Summit. In that you will get to know as how I should avoid publishing predatory journal and how I should go for only the authentic journal. So these are the questions you need to ask whether the journal is really authentic or not. So at the most you can do this also, that you can go to blacklist. You can see the blacklist, which are the journals, those are blacklisted by experts. So this is one particular database wherein you will get to know what are the blacklisted journal. Whitelist is what the list that is showing you the authentic journals like Scopus, Web of Science, and UGC Care List. These are showing you the whitelist. That means those are popular. Nowadays, because of open access, everybody is accessing, everybody is citing the articles. Now this altmetric concept has also come in. Altmetrics means what? My article is being discussed in a video. My article is being discussed in a All India Radio. Okay, my article is discussed as a comment. Okay, in the comment somebody has commented on Facebook. So it is not. It is different from the traditional citation metrics wherein we used to check for I10 index, I20 index, impact factor, H index, I index kind of thing. So this is also well accepted citation index that is called altmetrics, where and how people are talking about my research work. Retraction Watch is such a database. It is freely accessible. You can also check, but I wanted to show you since that's the time. I don't want to show you. Just simply type in economics here and check how many of the articles those are rejected or withdrawn or removed even after publishing in a journal because of some complaints and appeals received from the readers. So to stay informed about the open access journals or open access publishing, please follow these links. These are blogs and some websites, and also you can take up the quiz questions. And also you need to master yourself, master this citation standards. So at least you need to know one citation standard, that is American Psychological Association or MLA or any other citation standard. Also, you need to know one reference manager. It could be Zotero or Mendeley. So this will really help you to how to build the citations, because you know how to access the open access journal articles, because I have showed you some platforms. So even if you want to build the citations according to a citation style, you need to know one reference manager, that is Zotero or Mendeley. Those are very popular. Otherwise, you can also learn different platforms. So I'm just closing, wrapping the presentation. So these are the references, or you can refer or you can visit this particular slides. These are very, very important. You will get to know many different aspects of publication or publishing in scholarly journals like scholarly journals listed in databases like DOAJ and other platforms. So thank you so much. Sorry, I took 15 minutes extra, I think. So if you have any questions, you can put in a chat box or you can ask me.